Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dain. Welcome to this installment of the Tour of Consciousness from lovely Costa Rica. Oh my goodness, how beautiful is it here? Wow. So, what's the tool for today? Well, one of the conversations we've been having recently in Access Consciousness is that about chaos and order. And it's interesting because this one turns everything on its ear and it's not at all what you thought it was. So my prime target today is to hopefully get you out of the judgment of the chaos in your life so you can start, to do a lot of things, but one is so you can start to use it to create, and so you'll stop avoiding it. And also so that you can start recognizing that it's not the bad thing that you thought it was. Because we tend to try to order our lives really dynamically. One of the things we're realizing is order, and huge amounts of order is actually one of the things that creates disease, which is interesting because science will tell you, oh, it's chaos in this area and this area. But in actuality, for most of it, order is actually what leads to death. Order is what leads to the solidity and the slowdown in your body. Order is what leads to the stoppage. Now, it's not that you don't want order, don't get me wrong. You want to actually have both. But in order to do that, you got to get out of the judgments of chaos. Okay? And, it's like the sun, really chaotic. You know what I mean? And yet, it's an ongoing energy source that doesn't have to eat. How does that work? Well, it uses the chaotic capabilities and capacities that are naturally in the universe to create the energy. This is something we've stopped doing in our lives. In fact, a lot of us, especially if you lived in a family where they were really intense, or maybe they made you wrong and made everybody else wrong, or they were really abusive, or they were just plain unkind, or they had all kinds of weird money problems where their money went up and down, or weird emotional things where their emotions went up and down. What you would usually do as a little kid, being the kid you were, you'd look at that and try to bring order to it. And then what happens in that, you start judging the fact that you start judging chaos in general, going, wow, chaos is bad because it's like the way my family was. And order is good, except what you then do is you try to bring order to everything and everyone. And what it does, it continuously causes you to contract and constrict and limit your creative energy. So here's the tool for today. So what is the judgment that you have of chaos that keeps you from using it to create your life as greater than it's ever been before? Everything that is times a godzillion. We destroy and create it, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Oh my goodness. That's got a lot of energy, my friends. So what is the judgment you have of chaos that keeps you from creating your life greater than it's ever been before? Everything that is times a godzillion. We destroy and create it, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And what is the judgment of chaos you have that keeps you from using it to create your life and living as greater than it's ever been before? Everything that is times a godzillion. We destroy and create it, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do for the next week is just look out in the world and allow to come to you awareness of how chaos can actually create. One of the things in reading about certain really well-known business startups and the people that started them is one of the things they were willing to do is the people that have truly changed the world have been willing to bring chaos to entire industries, chaos to the entire world. And, when we look at that and we see wars and we see all that sort of chaos, but that's not at all the only thing that chaos is. Those are people who have taken chaos to a really far degree, to a really intense level. And what you want to recognize is usually because we see so much of that in the world that's destructive, we associate chaos and destruction. So everything you've done to associate chaos and destruction, will you destroy it and create it, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And so what happens is chaos is not just destructive, it's actually highly creative. But when you put it in that category, you totally stay away from it as a way of making sure that you don't go into the destructive phase, which causes you to use so much order in your life that you now destroy creativity. What? I know, don't you wish somebody would have talked to you about this before? So you want to have this awareness that chaos is not destruction, chaos is not just destructive, order is not just creative, and order is not right and chaos wrong. You have to be willing to have both. But in order to even get there, once again, you've got to be willing to get over your judgments of chaos as a bad thing, and what you've seen in the world where people take it to an extreme degree, and it indeed does destroy. Because, let's think about it for just a moment, okay? Chaos is what powers your car. Whether it's an electric vehicle or whether it's a gasoline combustion engine or a diesel engine, it runs on chaos. It runs on chaos that is actually encased in order, which is the engine around it, but it's a huge source of energy. And so, is it really bad? Or is it just different than the way you thought it was? And the interesting thing in doing Access for all these years is I've seen so many things that people judge as bad that are actually just different than the way you thought they were. And when you can get out of the judgment of it, you can start using them in the way that they were intended and with the possibilities that are actually available. All the major paradigm shifts in the world have been based on chaos. Now, they had to introduce an intensity of chaos to create a major change. I mean, French Revolution being one example. But then what happened is, after all of that intensity of chaos, then what it did was it expanded, changed something dynamically. So the structures of order that were there before were now gone, and then people started instituting other structures of order. And if you look at the French Revolution, it basically changed monarchies from being the source of power and control in the world, and we now have the world that we have now. And once again, I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, okay? You leave that up to you, only you know, okay? But this is how it actually works. So the major changes that occur actually have a lot of chaos within them. This is the same thing with the engine in your car. So once again, how many judgments do you have of chaos that keep you from using it to create a greater life and living than you've ever had before and ever thought possible? Everything that is times a gazillion, we destroy and create it, please. Right, wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. And just look at it. See if you can find in the next week 3 sources. And it's interesting because there's a massively loud truck. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like, rah, chaos, rah. I don't know why I just pointed it out. But in the next week, if you could just look for a few things that you see that actually have chaos within them that actually create. If you look at how Richard Branson, as one example, how he does business, it's very chaotic with also having order to it. And so what happens is next you can start to use the order to start to create. Get out of the judgments of chaos, my friend. Remember, consciousness includes everything and judges nothing, which will allow you to tap into that creative capacity that chaos actually gives you and not have to spend your entire life trying to hold everything small enough to be the one that always maintains order. Well, that was quite a long tour of consciousness from lovely Costa Rica. Such a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for being on the planet. If you like this video, please like this video so other people can find it. What if you truly being you are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires? I look forward to seeing you in person someday. Bye.